Dalglish. Johnston to Hartford. Oh, well played. Johnston again. Rioch is coming in. It went on to Dalglish. Dalglish again, and it's there. Scotland go 2 goals up. Ali McLeod celebrates. So does
the beautiful game, jumpers for goalposts. Yeah, since computers have come along, us computer gamers have craved football. Not quite sure why, but yeah, football's one of these games. Whether you like it or loathe it, it's a popular sport, and yeah, we've always wanted to be able to play football on hardware. And this was what we got in the late 70s. Moving on a few years, things took a step up. I give you international soccer on the Commodore 64. This was one of the first games I ever bought for my 64. This came out in 1983. It was on cartridge, and suffice to say, I played this absolutely to death. I mean, as you'll see shortly, graphics have improved slightly from a mere bat as your striker to actually something that resembles football players. It wasn't the most perfect game, but you know what? For a 1983 game, it was bloody fantastic. It really, really was. You could pass. You couldn't quite header it, but there was a move where if you pull the joystick in the opposite direction and press fire button, you could dribble it with your head. But yeah, this game was fantastic. It had 9 levels, I think it was. 9 levels of play. The first 4 or 5, they don't even run in the right direction. I mean, they're just a complete waste of time. But yeah, this game, this really, really elevated computer, I was going to say soccer there for a second. It really elevated computer football games. And like I said, we thought it's only going to get better. This is 1983. The next game is going to be even more realistic. How wrong was I? This game, World Cup Carnival, where do we start? This game came out in 1986 to coincide with the Mexico World Cup. It was reviewed in Zap. What's interesting about this game, apart from what I'm going to tell you about, you had music. Music in a football game? What was that all about? But yeah, this game, I mean, looking at it now, it doesn't look that bad. But what they decided, US Gold decided to bring out a football game to, like I said, to coincide with the World Cup. And they got a T-shirt, they got stickers, they got a poster, everything you could think of to package in a box, except one thing: the computer game. So what did they do? Did they try and rustle up something quickly? Did they? Hell, they contacted a company called Arctic, who had written this game some 2-3 years earlier, and they changed the graphics. They didn't change the graphics. They put US Gold in Mexico World Cup, and they sold it for $9.99, and it was a complete pile of garbage. And if you think this is the worst you're going to see, think again. Yeah, we just saw Kenny Dalglish earlier on, absolute football legend. This is Kenny Dalglish's soccer. I mean, the fact they're calling it soccer instead of football, you know it's going to be shite, but you'll never expect just how bad it is. Now this was a full price football game. I don't know why. This is the C64. I mean, the C64 did have colour. Not quite sure why they chose that. Yeah, look at the tiny screen. The players just quite literally run about. They do their own thing. They don't. You control the one with the upside down cross, but you'll notice there your teammates are nowhere to be seen. Oh, I thought that was a goal. Oh, there's Ray Butch Wilkins as the referee. Yeah, this is absolutely atrocious. It doesn't, well, I was going to say it doesn't look that bad. It looks fucking awful. But yeah, the fact that the players just run about. I mean, look at that, my player. He's just ran up. Look, they're all running up to the top of the pitch. What is going on? And this was a full price game. And, you know, it had its name of one of the most iconic football players in the world. It does get a bonus point for having at least a semi-decent picture of a bald referee. But yeah, this was pretty much the pits of football. Even Kenny Dalglish has got his head in his hands. Things did improve, however, in 1988 when Sensible Software released this. Now, I'm just going to let this play in a demo. Yeah, this is MicroProse Soccer, named after the developer called MicroProse. Playing this now, it's not accurate. It plays nothing like football. It is clearly inspired by Tekken World Cup, which I know I've been lucky enough to interview John here a number of times, and it was based on Tekken World Cup, which used a large trackball, which gave you a sore wrist. So yeah, I always had a sore wrist as a 17-year-old boy. Anyway, yeah, so this game came out, and it looks, I mean, the graphics even now look really, really, really nice. It doesn't really play like football. You can do some wild banana shots, as they call them. It had a lovely little rewind facility where it was like in black and white, with a little interruption screens and what have you. Really, really nice game. So this game kind of set the scene for what was to become. Moving on to the 16-bit machines. This game kind of came out of left field. I never really knew anything about this game, and I was lucky enough to get a pirate copy of this. This is a Kickoff, and it was programmed by a chap called Dino Dini, and this came out in 1989. The one you're seeing here is on the Commodore Amiga, though I did have it for the Atari ST, I think it was. They were both pretty much identical. This did spawn a number of sequels. You had Kickoff 2, I think you had Kickoff 3, then they brought it out, and now I think Dino Dini and a guy called Steve Screech, yep, you've heard it, Screech, they jointly made this game, but I think they had a fallout and they went off and did their own thing. Dini brought this out again and he called it Goal, which was like Kickoff 4, and Steve Screech, he brought out, I think he brought out Kickoff 3, yeah, I think that's how it worked. Compared to what we'd seen before, this was awesome. It's one of the most difficult football games you're ever likely to play. The ball, when you try and pick up the ball, it just runs away from you. Most football games, the ball will stick to your feet. Not so much in this one. In fact, this game probably does replicate football pretty accurately. You know, you've got to be skilled to be able to dribble the ball. And an interesting fact about this game is, I believe they still have world championships of this game. There's two camps when it comes to 16-bit football. There's this one, and there's another one which you probably know what it's going to be. You're going to see that shortly. And you're either the other one or you're a Kickoff fan. I am firmly in the other camp, though, you know, this game, I put a lot of time into this one. Kickoff, I found, was great, which you're seeing here. The second one was good. The third one wasn't as good. But anyway, yeah. Meanwhile, in console land, you had this. Yeah, that game that kids pay £99 for, I don't even know what it's called now. This is the very, very, very first FIFA. It came out on the Sega Mega Drive to begin with, and I think it got some great reviews. And then it came out, I think it came out in the SNES. Yeah, it did actually come out in the SNES, but I think this was always a spiritual home. Now, this came out in I'm going to say 1991, maybe 1992, something like that. Looking at it now, it's a bloody good game. Lovely. It was like, it gave you probably the most realistic viewpoint of football up to this point. This game actually originally came out on the 3DO, and like I said, it didn't really get popular until the Mega Drive one because nobody bought the 3DO. But yeah, playing it even just in this short time for this video, it's actually really, really nice. It's good fun to play. I mean, it looks the part. It's got great sound. It did get a port onto the Amiga as well at some point. I don't know if it came out for the TAR ST, but yeah, it was great. It had all the official licensed FIFA teams. It had all the players. Obviously, it proved rather popular because some 30 years later, 30 years later, people they're still bringing out the same version. Same game, different names and what have you, and charging a stupid amount of money. But this was actually a really, really good game. I never owned it until I got the Commodore Amiga. But yeah, it looks nice. It's got nice graphics. And when you consider it's a 16-bit machine, it's an old game. It looks the part. It's exciting to play, and that's what you want. So over on the SNES, there was a rival to the FIFA franchise, and it was I was going to say Pro Evolution Soccer. It wasn't. It was called International Superstar Soccer. Now, the one we're going to take a look at, I have picked specifically for one reason. This is the Japanese version of International Superstar Soccer. It's got its own name. I don't read Japanese, so I can't tell you what it's called. But yeah, this is a fantastic arcade football game. It plays really well. But yeah, just wait till you see it actually play. Awesome. Perfect 11, that's what it's called. I'm just going to stick it onto CPU versus CPU, just so I can let you see it. Now, what really sets this apart for me is it's got lovely graphics. I mean, this is of the era, if you're a football fan, you may remember a superstar Italian player called Roberto Baggio. He had a little ponytail back before they were really popular, and he appears in this. So they did have some superstars, hence the name. You're going to see him. We'll see him in a second. But what I love about why you have to, if you're going to play this game, you need to play you've got to play the Japanese version, and all will be revealed shortly. Well, it's got some kick-ass commentary, and hopefully somebody's going to score. Look at it. I mean, this is a game from 1991 or something. The graphics are phenomenal. Yeah, you got a nice little replay as well. So yeah, this was on the consoles. I don't think it ever came out for the Mega Drive one. This was what do you call it? Yeah, this was just on the SNES. This later. It evolved eventually into Pro Evo. You can see what they did there. It evolved into Pre-Evolution Soccer, which came out in the PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3. I think they might still be making this. But this is a great game. It really is. Even the graphics. You can even see like the numbers. There's Baggio with a little ponytail. And it's got the commentary as well. What's not to love? I'm not a football fan, but I love playing football games, well, up to a point. Yeah, I mean, it even had, the sound effects, atmosphere. It really builds a fantastic atmosphere. And that wasn't really something until we saw kind of later on. But this was doing it before the rest. So yeah, this is if you're going to play this, play Perfect 11, which is the Japanese version of International Superstar Soccer. Now, I can't remember when it was. Amiga Power put out a demo disc, and on the disc, it was a single disc. It had a game called Sensible Soccer. Now, I mean, what kind of name is that? It's ridiculous. Sensible Soccer. It goes, computer games normally have exciting titles that really they draw you in, they make you want to play it. Sensible Soccer sounded like the dullest thing ever. It really did. So anyway, I took the sellotape off the magazine without trying to rip the cover, put the disc into the Amiga, and oh my god, that was my life changed quite literally for the best for probably about 2 years, if not even more. Yeah, Sensible Soccer, where do we start? This was programmed by Sensible Software, graphics by John Hare, coding by Chris Yates. Yeah, you know the game. It's a top-down football game. I wonder why they called. In fact, I've name dropping again. I've chatted to John Hare on quite a number of occasions. Why did they call it Sensible Soccer? Why did they not call it Sensible Football? Does it flow better, possibly? I'll need to ask him. I will need to ask him that. Anyway, yeah, back to what we're talking about. So this game turned up, and it's it's got a really, the graphics, you could almost, compared to FIFA, you could almost say the graphics are shit. But it's just got playability. It oozes playability. It's subtly controlled. And the wonderful thing about this game is anybody can pick up a joystick and enjoy it. And yeah, this game has quite literally never been bettered. I still regularly play this game. It did come out in multiple consoles and what have you. It has had multiple releases over the years, even 3D versions, which are best avoided. But yeah, this is such a beautiful incarnation of the game. I'm not a football fan in the slightest, but this game just sucked years of my life. For about 20 years, we've waited on something coming along and bettering it, and it's not happened. But John Hare's released a new game, and it's this Sociable Soccer 25. Now actually, it was called Sociable Soccer 24 up until last week. They've released an update and it's now called Sociable Soccer 25. I love how games always call himself the year that hasn't yet arrived. Yeah, this game, it's got quite a incubation period, or gestation period, is that the right phrase, I think? Yeah, it probably is. This game first came to light, I don't know, probably about maybe as much as 10 years ago, possibly. It was on Steam, and my interest was piqued. I did a bit of digging, and I found out that John Hare was involved in it. It was no longer Sensible Software, and Chris Yates was no longer involved with the game. He's kind of just vanished completely. But yeah, it came out as an early kind of backers game. Now, I can't remember exactly how much I paid for it. I think it was maybe £15, and it had it was a very limited sort of game that they released. It was put out as a kind of beta, and you know what? It was nice. It was nice, but it wasn't the full game. There was quite a few options on the screen which you couldn't access, And but I played it for a wee while, and I sat tight and thought, looking forward to this coming out. And the end of the year came and went, and then the next year came and went, and the next year came and went, and it just kind of vanished into oblivion. Now, I did see a few articles on the internet. Apparently, they were working on they abandoned the PC version, and they were working on a mobile game for, I think it was China, for like tablets and phones. And I'll be honest, that kind of annoyed me, because I had paid for a game, yet they decided, oh, let's just park this one and we'll go do something else. Now again, through one of the conversations I had with John, he did explain that they needed more money to really get the game that they wanted this to be, and the quickest way and the easiest way to do that was to get a game out on mobile phones. So this happened, and I mean, there was a good number of years where nothing was happening, and then I think it was last year there was noises about a new version coming out. It was finally going to get released in its entirety, and it came out about 6 months ago, something like that. You know, fortunately, because I have bought the game, it was given away. You know, I didn't have to pay anything extra, which was fine. I mean, I would be slightly pissed off if I'd had to pay for it, considering I've already paid for it. So no, any of the early backers, they did get access to the full game. Now, it came out, Sociable Soccer 2024 came out about 6 months ago, and I had mixed feelings about the game. It looked really nice, it really did. I mean, it looks the part. But there was a couple of reservations. The goalkeepers were extremely easy to beat. Now that was something that kind of did plague the original Sensi Soccer. Nobody calls it Sensi Soccer, or if you're really cool, you call it Sensi. So yeah, the original Sensi did have the computer goalkeepers were completely pants. Well, in fact, the goalkeepers are always computer controlled, but they were rubbish. You could just, you could score every time from certain angles. And this game was the same, so that annoyed me. Well, it didn't annoy me. I think annoys slightly too harsh a word. It was something that I thought they need to improve in that, because the beauty of Sensi Soccer was it had playability perfected. The controls, everything about it was just perfect. The other thing, which was a major one in my opinion, was you had to be online to play it. Now, even if you're playing career mode, you've got to be online to play it. And I've got a Steam Deck, and I've got this running on it, and it runs really, really well. And there's been a few times where I've taken the Steam Deck out on an aeroplane or a train, whatever, and I want to play this and I can't because I don't have an internet connection. And again, the wonderful thing about Steam and the company that make this, they do have, you can give feedback. And I did, in fact, I think I actually mentioned it. I'm not name dropping. I do know John quite well through Facebook, and he's been on my channel several times. The last interview I did was something like 5 hours. Go and check it out. You'll find it quite easily. And I did say that to him. Now, about a month ago, this Sociable Soccer 25 dropped, and I'm delighted to say they have taken on board comments. You can now play offline, which is great. There are multiple different viewpoints now. I've not even mentioned the game really. I mean, I'm playing the game here. You can see there the viewpoint. Somebody actually posted on the forum or whatever it was called and said, what is the best way to play? Do you play it horizontally or do you play it vertically? Now, everybody said vertical. Now, I commented and says, well, I play this horizontal for the simple reason is the programmers have set that as a default view. Therefore, I possibly wrongly think that that is the preferable way to play it. But what they said was, no, you play it the way you want to play it. If you like playing up and down, like Sensi, then do that. So I've changed it, and I've now been playing this up and down. You can see here, it does look and play very much like Sensi. You can pass, it will pass straight to the player's feet. I think it's slightly easier. You can change the viewpoint, obviously. I was going to say it's got a bit more depth. I mean, obviously graphically, it's much better. Some might argue that it's been. I can understand why they've revamped the graphics, because you put the original Sensi in front of a 16-year-old child, and they're quite simply not interested. They want to play FIFA or whatever it's called. I don't know what it's called. Not interested. So they have to improve the graphics. There's a lot of comedy. You can see there you've got your managers, and there's a lot of like stereotypical characters that they've picked. What I really like about this is there's thousands of football teams. I'm playing as Partick Thistle, who are in the second league, I think, in Scotland. There's my hometown, Livingston. You know, you can play Livingston versus Barcelona. There's online tournaments. Now, I have tried a couple of online. In fact, I tell a lie. I know I have played one online against a friend, and it was alright. It wasn't great. What I really want to be able to do is have like maybe 5 or 6 people all playing at the same time, not in the same game, but 4 people watching, 2 people playing, and it's an ongoing league. Now, I don't think you can do that. If you can, I do apologise. I don't think you can do that. I have played now. That guy is clearly Oliver Hardy, Laurel and Hardy. If you don't know who that is, go and ask your granddad. Yeah, it's possible you can do that. I don't think you can though. If you can, I do apologise. But yeah, I've played. I have played an online game against a friend. You've got to create a room, and then you give the code to your friend, and you can play. What would be nice, and again, I do apologise. This is not an in or a deep dive. That's the kind of common phrase we use at the moment. This isn't a deep dive of Sociable Soccer. It's merely just to let you make you aware of it. And you know, is this the best game since Sensi? I'll tell you my opinion shortly. But yeah, it would be nice if you can just play online random and you automatically just pick somebody to play. That would be really, really nice. But having an online where you can have 3 or 4 friends all playing at the same time. Now that there, he just did a somersault. I've asked if they can remove that. I'm a 57-year-old bloke. I'm not interested in seeing my avatar dancing about. I understand why they've put it in. Like I said, they've put it in to try and appeal to to try and steal some of the FIFA people. Is that going to work? Probably not, because kids want official. They want their players to look exactly like their real life counterparts. I mean, they have done some semi-realistic modelling, but it's done in a kind of cartoon way. But yeah, when you score a goal and you do a somersault or a backflip, no, please remove that. I have asked for that. You know, by all means, keep it in, but give us the option to be able to turn it off. But yeah, the graphics are wonderful. The presentation's really, really nice. It plays excellently. It's quite easy to play. You saw earlier on, you've got like, you can see all your players, you can substitute and all that kind of stuff. You know, but it's primarily it's easy to pick up and play, which is great. They have said don't think of this as the successor to Sensible Soccer. They've taken the essence of that game, but they've tried to bring it screaming and shouting up to, you know, the present day, which is absolutely fine. So anyway, really just to kind of summarise, it's still, I was going to say it's still slightly too easy to score goals. I think it is. It is quite easy just to hit the ball and you score. But when you're playing harder teams, it is obviously going to get more difficult. But yeah, to summarise, Is this better than Sensi Soccer? I'm going to say no. I know John and the team are not going to want to hear that. I think the problem that they've got, and it's like any medium, it's like the first album from Guns N' Roses, it's like the first Jaws film or Star Wars. That's a bad example because everybody knows that Empire Strikes Back's the better film. Yeah, it's like the first album syndrome. People will always remember that as being the best one. You know, you're not really going to be able to change that. And even if they did bring out a Sensi, it would just... People are always just going to think the Amiga Sensi is the best game. But you know what? Since the update, since it's gone from 24 to 25, it's nice. You can play it offline. They have, you know, they've listened to people. There is still going to be a lot of updates coming out. You know, they do listen to feedback, which is great. And far too many companies don't listen to that. But yeah, there's a lot of depth. Like I said, I've not played it as much. There's lots of challenges and all that kind of stuff to kind of keep it interesting. But you know, the controls, passing, lobbing, shooting, it's all quite easy to play. You can put aftertouch in it, which you know is a staple part of any football game. Yeah, like I said, is it better than Sensi? No, it's not. But to be able to play Sensi now, yeah, not everybody's going to have access to a Commodore Amiga or an Amiga emulator. But you know, for picking up and just playing some fun football, I'm all over this. It is 100 times better than FIFA and probably Pro Evolution Soccer. I don't even know if they still make that. But this is way better than FIFA, and it's a fraction of the price. I think it's 25 quid to buy. You know, you'll not even get Lionel Messi's strip for 25 quid. So do yourself a favour, folks. If your kid wants the modern, up-to-date FIFA, buy them this, and you can thank me later. Anyway, folks, as always, thank you very much for watching.